This is a review of the CTECHi GT-1500 portable power station, or as CTECHi calls it, the Bear Plus 1200, although the package showed GT-1200. I bought this for $1299.99 minus $500 minus $10.99. If you're paying $1,299.99, you're paying $1.07 per watt hour, which is way more than it should be. If you get the $500 credit, you're paying 66 cents, which is pretty reasonable. Now, I got a $10.99 gift card for some reason. I don't know where it came from, actually, but that and the 500 off gives me 65 cents per watt hour. There are three ways to charge this, and that is the AC wall adapter, the car charger, and the solar panel input. If you look at CTECHi information, they've got a 22.4 volt nominal voltage, which is based on the lithium iron phosphate cells, 7 cells in series, and then the capacity is 54 amp hours, which is a strange value for those cells, but they make batteries, so they probably made this whatever they wanted. And they're talking about dual channel flash charging function, where you can input from the regular input as well as the PD. And as it says somewhere here, the PD flash charging kit needs to be purchased separately, and this doesn't have it. I ran across this channel, and he has a power station grading system, which is a pretty good way to look at the power stations. Can you 100% charge in 4 hours for this portable power station? And the answer is no, it takes about 7 hours. Does it have pass-through charging on the DC? And the answer is yes. Does it have a pure sine wave inverter? And the answer is, I'm not sure, but they claim it is, but I don't have a oscilloscope to tell. Is the DC output regulated? And it almost has to be because of the 22.4 volt cells in there. Does the display and have pertinent information? And I would say yes. Outputs, auto shut-off settings. I'm thinking that it doesn't have, because of the manual says if you're going to just let it sit there, turn those off. Is a USB-C 100 watt PD? And no, it's a 60 watt. Does it meet 85% of rated capacity? And I'm not sure, since I didn't charge it up and discharge it. Does it have 150 plus watts solar input? You can put in 200 watts. And is it price per watt hour under 80 cents? And yes, it is. And the weight is 35 pounds. At 35 pounds, for me, it is not a portable power station. Any heavier, it would have been not what I wanted to pack around and lug up on stairs and whatnot. So let's go ahead and unbox it. Well, here it is, the CTECHi portable power station. Model number GT-1500. It's supposedly 35.25 pounds, although this package is like 45.25 pounds. So if you're going to bring it And of course it's made in China like everything else. So if you're going to bring it up into your domicile, you better be able to heft about 50 pounds. Now let's go ahead and open the box. Well, I thought I could just lift the box up, but that doesn't look like that's happening. Now, to get it out of the outer box, I had to open up the bottom, and then I was able to drag it up. Let's see here. Looks like the power brick. And there it is. In that nice mesh bag, you get a solar kit with the MC4 connectors, DC input, USB-C cable, and then of course your cord. And here's your power brick, which is what, 3.5 amps at 110 or 229 watts. So here's the power switch. You've got battery percentage, temperature, power output, power input. You also have over here your DC, USB, and USB-C. USB-A is 5 volts, 2.4 amp, and the type C will put out like 68. And if you can see right there, that's the icon for it. This is the icon for the cigarette plug. It only will put out 8 amps according to the information on the CTECHi. And then back here is your AC output. It's got four AC plugs with a common ground. Although it isn't grounded, all it is a place for the ground plug to plug into. And you turn it on by holding this down until it gets red. And if you look over here, there's the icon for it. Should be able to turn it off by pressing. Yep. I think these are momentary because this thing turns on. I was messing around and turns off. So if you hold it down, trying to turn it off, you aren't going to do anything. Bright, dim, flashing, and SOS. I assume that's SOS. One thing that Jason of the Jasonoid YouTube channel mentioned is check all the outputs and obviously the input and make sure that they are working, and then go ahead and take it down to 0 and then back up. And that's what I'm going to do. So right now let's check the DC output. Looks like 13.12 volts. Okay, I checked all 3 of these 2.4 amp ports, and they had 5.09 volts. So let's take it up to the 2.4 amps and see what happens. All right, 4.59 volts at 2.4 amps. And I'm not sure whether all of them are separate or that's the total. I'm hoping that that is separate. And I'll plug in a phone and see what it's charging at. Okay, so I've got the 2 things plugged in. The load at 2.37 amps at 4.68 volts. This thing shows the 1.3 milliamps sucking in. So at 3.952 volts, I think that's the battery on board though. So at least it appears to put out all of that at once. So let's next look at the Type-C output. All right, 2.5 amps out of the Type-C. I still have, so this is 2 amps. And that is 8.98 at 1.26 amps. So all that works. Okay, this says 113, and the fluke says 115. So I'm going to believe the fluke before I believe the kilowatt. All right, I've got this heater hooked up, 600 watts about. Says it's 4.66 amps, 507 watts. 12 degrees C. And the fan is on. So it's been over an hour. It's 23 degrees Celsius. The fan's still running, 531 watts. And we're down to about 30% on the battery. Hey, it quit. All right, we got 0.77 kilowatt hours. And it showed 90%. Who knows? Hour and 35 minutes. $77 kilowatt hours. All right, just plugged it in, and it's ramping up for the input watts. Looks like it's going to stick at 180 watts from the power brick. All right, it's done. 1.32 kilowatt hours. And almost 7 hours. So would I buy this again? Well, based on the price, I probably would. There's a couple things that I would have liked. That the cigarette lighter actually put out 10 amps or more, and that it had a UPS in it, so that when it's charging up, you can run the AC. But other than that, it seems to be working, and when the winds rise and the temperature falls, I'll be able to, and the power goes out, if it goes out, I'll be able to keep the furnace running for nine hours or so. That's my review of the CTECHi portable power station, 1200 watt, 1210 watt hour lithium iron phosphate power station.